All right, welcome into the show. Hope everybody's having a wonderful week. I am your host, Chris. You can find me on Twitter at CFBTalk07. Got my boy Tyler, our season. You can find him on at CFB_SZN. And then we got the my other co-host, Austin. I was gonna try to come up with something funny, but I couldn't think of nothing. I was gonna joke on the Braves, but then I realized I'm a Braves fan too, so season he's been finding joy in our misery, Austin, as Braves fans.
It's been miserable.
It's been very miserable.
Yeah, remember me last week? Remember me last week saying, "Oh, isn't this the greatest time of the year for sports?" And then
that quickly changed.
I get that out of my mouth, and Bama gets blew out by Duke in the lead 8, and then turn around, Braves are 0-7.
Yeah, not a good time for us Braves fans, man.
Sports suck again.
Yeah, sports suck right now. Season, I think if I remember right, you're a Yankees fan, right?
Fuck no, come on now.
You're not a Yankees?
No, dog. Come on, bro. The Yankees, dog.
I thought you liked the Yankees. Maybe it was somebody else. You just like players, don't you?
I like players, dog. Yeah, I don't got a team.
Okay. I had it wrong. Season took offense to the Yankees. I don't blame them.
Yeah, he did. You don't like the torpedoes, man?
Dude, fuck the Yankees, man.
I love it. Before we get into the news and notes, we got to do it because March Madness is still going on.
Yeah.
All right, who y'all got? Final four. Who's going to Master Chief?
I'm going with Duke versus. I could see Auburn or Florida. That's a little tough one. I'm gonna stick with my guns though. I'm gonna go Duke versus Florida. Duke wins.
Austin.
Yeah, I mean, I got Houston from the rip. That's who I got in my bracket. But I don't know, man. I don't know if anybody's beating Duke right now. I don't even feel like Duke played that great last weekend, and we're still winning by 20.
Yeah. I'm gonna go same thing. Or I'm gonna go Duke. I'm gonna go Duke, Florida, and actually I'm gonna stick to my guns. I've picked Florida. I'm gonna go Florida.
Boo.
Yeah, boo. Exactly.
Man, bro, it feels like a lot of shit happened since the last time we had a show.
It does. Well, it does. It feels like a lifetime. It's only been since last Thursday.
Last Tuesday.
Yeah.
A lot of college football news has actually been popping up lately, I feel like.
Yeah, we had a playoff meeting today. Nothing came of it, of course, as always. Nothing happened really. We got Matt Rule doing a TikTok after I think he didn't ban his players from doing TikToks, or no, I don't know. He's on TikTok and dancing. Yeah, bunch of news. Let's go ahead and get into so on this segment of news and notes this week, we're going to kind of do just camp intel. I'm just going to go around to 3 different teams that I went and kind of scoured the internet and got some nuggets and notes from team scrimmages. We're going to start with Tennessee. I'm going to add before I say the guy that's making a lot of noise, I want to add in because it is a wide receiver. I do want to add some context to it. Apparently, Tennessee is down bad on defense as far as injuries this spring. They are pretty much playing with walk-ons and freshmen. A lot of injuries across the defensive line. So take this note for what it's worth. But Travis Smith Jr., the true freshman, he's kind of turning heads in the first scrimmage, making a lot of noise. They're really impressed. The offense in general, from what I've read, is really looking good, but again, with context, the defense had a crap ton of injuries. UGA, first scrimmage, the offense did not look very good at all. From what I've understood, the 11-on-11 portion just was not good. They did a lot better in the situational stuff, but just wasn't very good. Zachariah Branch is those getting a lot of love. A name that I want you to remember, I'd already told Season, but Bo Walker, running back for Georgia. I'm hearing some great things about him. I think that's a name that a lot of people, if you tune in this show, maybe you can come back.
That's Herschel Walker's. That's Herschel Walker's little nephew, bro.
Is it? I hope so.
I don't know.
Definitely, yeah. So yeah, not good to hear that the offense, but it is the first scrimmage. Season knows he coached. He got a lot of time to fix the issues and all that. Florida, Adon. I think I'm saying this right. Your season, you can correct me, but that Adon Mitchell.
Mitchell.
Yeah, he's been the best performer so far through spring practices. They said.
That's interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah. The interesting part also to me, me and you talked about through text, Lagway still limited, not passing. He did compete. He did participate in the scrimmage as far as handoffs and quarterback runs, but they're not letting him throw still. So I don't know what's going on with that. Kind of crazy, but yeah, those are the three teams. Intel, is there any kind of big takeaway from those three?
Aiden Mitchell standing out the most from the Florida receiving room, probably stands out the most. I expected Travis Smith Jr. For Tennessee. I expected him to ball out, so that's not surprising me.
Yeah, you were pretty high on him, wasn't
you? I didn't think he was going to ball out this early, so that's kind of surprising in a way. But I knew he was really athletic. I had him as a top 10 receiver in the class.
I actually got to watch him live in my town because his team has actually come and played against us. I was always impressed with him. I wasn't super high like the recruiting services, but I was always pretty impressed with him. Austin, anything that you take away from those three Nuggets?
Happy to hear Georgia's got a running back stepping up.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to get into that during our spring questions. Yeah, I've heard that he's only a true freshman. So what I've heard is he's worked his way from like bottom of the depth chart to he's like basically 1B to the starting running backs 1A. So like it's looking like he's going to be the main starter with the starter.
Probably get about 6 to 8 touches a game, roughly.
Yeah. Yep. Georgia does rotate their backs a lot.
Maybe 8 to 11.
Yeah. So yeah, those are our big takeaways from the camp intel I've gotten. Let's get into these biggest spring questions. All right. So each of us, I got 6 teams. Season's got 6 teams. Austin's got 4. A crazy number of teams in these. I don't know what we're going to do with the Big Ten when it's 18. But let's go ahead. We'll start with one of Season's first. Season, who do you want to start with first on yours?
Man, throw me anyone, dog.
I actually do not have it pulled up. I'm a bad host. Let's do. I'm just off the top of my head. Let's go with Florida.
Florida. Okay, we're doing biggest question marks, right?
Yep.
So for me, with Florida this year, my biggest question mark for them is going to be inexperience and chemistry within the skill players. And I know everyone probably pointing to the defense as a question mark. They are returning 8 starters. How much better will they be on the defensive side of the ball? But with DJ not throwing in the spring, lots of new faces from the transfer, some really true talented freshmen, wide receivers. My biggest question mark is going to be chemistry and inexperience relating with Lagway and his weapons. Very talented room. They can still ball out, but that's my biggest question mark right now. How is the chemistry going to look come the fall? What y'all think about that?
Austin, you want to?
I think that's spot on.
Yeah.
I think, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Lagway's still not throwing. That's kind of
yeah. That's the most interesting thing to me is him not throwing. I still haven't been able to find anything, which I haven't been able to read much. I'm assuming it's a shoulder issue. I'm guessing since he's not throwing. Yeah, I agree with you though. Season the inexperience and all that. I think Aiden Mitchell is he really the only experienced wide receiver they have? Like other
no, they also have Eugene Wilson, the third.
Oh, he's still there. Okay,
he's still there.
Okay,
but they got Michael Sturvant, Dallas Wilson. Some new faces. Lots of new faces.
And they didn't. When did Lagway start? Like, does anybody remember when he started?
He might have came in for that Tennessee game when they went to overtime.
Yeah. So they had a whole full season to work with each other.
Now the run game's going to be stupid good. Yeah. The run game for Florida, they're going to lean on pounding the rock this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how it all meshes. It's a big year for Florida. If you've listened to previous shows, I'm pretty high on them. I think it's going to work out really well. I'm a little nervous now that Lagway's kind of like not participating in spring, but I'm going to kind of hope that he's getting those mental reps, though, which is important, just as important as throwing. But I'm assuming hopefully by the fall he'll be ready. I haven't read anything that said he isn't going to be. But yeah, the inexperience and all gelling together will be interesting to watch this spring. Austin, let's go to
If
you.
they're letting him, I was just gonna say, if they're letting him on the field, I feel like it's precautionary.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like if he was seriously that injured, he wouldn't be taking reps at all. So
especially in a scrimmage where they let him run the ball, even though he's not getting hit.
yeah, but I mean, still take a chance. So I'm with you. It's
Mhm.
got to be something in the shoulder, and I still think it's just precautionary.
I can't remember. Did he get hurt last year and I'm not remembering?
Yeah, in the Georgia game, you remember?
That's
They came
right.
in. He got hurt early after the first drive, I think.
That's right. That's right. And he didn't come back till later on in the season.
No, he might have came back the next week
Did he?
against Texas. I don't know how.
Oh no, he didn't against Texas. I do remember that.
He did or didn't.
Didn't because
Didn't,
it was
okay.
that walk-on kid.
Yeah.
I can't remember. So that even adds more to the inexperience thing because he was kind of in and out, didn't start the season, didn't, kind of come until later on in the season, and then he missed some time, then he came back, and then now he's missing spring. So that goes to your point about the inexperience or the chemistry issue maybe could be a problem going forward. So Austin, let's go to you. You had let's start with you on I'm gonna give you a hard one. Let's go to Kentucky.
Dude, Kentucky's the hardest one I feel like in the SEC because there's a question mark around every single position. So I think with Kentucky, my biggest question mark is around Mark Stoops and what he can do. I mean, I think his seat's got to be getting. We've talked about this hot there. So that's where I'm gonna put my question mark is how focused is he? How much is he putting into the team? I mean, if I had to put it on the team, it would be offensive production.
Yes.
I don't know.
Feels like offensive production other than sorry to cut you off, but other than the year that he had that one OC has been the question mark his whole career.
Yeah.
I got Kentucky as my worst SEC team right now from a early spring standpoint.
I would agree with you. I think I would have them if we were power ranking them. They would be 16 right now for me.
Me too.
It would be real close between them and Mississippi State.
Mississippi State, and you gave me both of them.
Yeah, I did, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
I did.
Shit.
Hey, but I did give you Bama and Texas.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
I tried to be balanced, but it's kind of hard when it's a 6-6-4 model. But yeah, I agree with that. I think this year, I'm gonna make a hot take. I think this will be Mark Stoops. Well, I don't know. This may not be a hot take. Y'all might not be surprised at all. I think this will be his last year at Kentucky. I don't think he'll be fired. I think he'll pull one of those step aways before it happens type thing.
I could say that.
Yeah, I think this is. He did make an interesting comment a couple of weeks back. I seen it on Twitter about how he is way more focused than he's ever been as a head coach about this year. I don't know how much good that'll do him, but all right, I'll go with me. I'm gonna start with Vandy. I'm gonna start with Austin's favorite team, Vanderbilt. I was looking at them, which they have the quarterback coming back. I don't really have any question marks for the offense. They lost. My biggest question for them is the two stud safeties they lost in C.J. Taylor and D. Ricky Wright. They are two all-star SEC guys in the secondary. There's a guy, Dante Carter, that was a true freshman last year. He kind of looks like he's going to be the first in line to fill that void. But I think that's a big thing, especially in SEC with a lot of good offenses and playing them. But that losing those two guys at the back end of your defense is something that I'm curious to see how they replace them. And can they duplicate last year's 6? And I think they 7-6. Can they capitalize on that kind of season, take the momentum and keep going it on. So that's my biggest question with Vandy.
I also questioned them in the trenches a little bit. I remember they got pushed around a little bit, especially on the defensive line. I wonder how much of physical are they going to be in year 2, or is this year 2?
No, Clark Lee's been there, I think, 4 years maybe.
Yeah, well, I question their physicality as well a little bit.
Yeah, but I feel like Vandy's used to that, right? Like Vandy's never going to match up physically with the big dogs in the SEC. So yeah, I mean, I could see it being more so.
Shit,
what happened?
The baseball
was
game.
That foul? Was that foul, dog?
I don't know. I didn't see it, but I heard.
He's walking back. He's walking back to the box, dog. That must have been foul. Woo!
Austin don't watch much college baseball. He's got a few Oklahoma series going on right now.
Yeah, sorry to cut you off, but
no,
you're not normally physical. Good. You're right.
But anyhow, yeah, I mean, I feel like Vandy's used to that, but I mean, they have had some pretty solid safeties and outside players, on defense, kind of make up for it. So, y'all good?
And really, the reason.
Yeah, I'm listening to you, but he's got me wanting to lock into this baseball game right now.
the reason why they beat Alabama too was because of offensive scheme and time of possession. It wasn't really the defense, I would say.
You're right. And Clark Lee, by the way, he's been there since 2021. I just looked it up.
Okay. Appreciate that.
Well, I think next year is going to be a little bit different. We talked about this a couple of times in the show, where last year in the SEC, you just didn't have a lot of dominant offenses like you've seen in the past. They could just run up and down the field on you. And I think it, made it easier for some teams to compete because, it's a different ball game when you get into a shootout.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I think you're going to have some much improved offenses this year. I think Florida's going to be much improved. I think LSU is going to be a big offense. Texas, we'll see. I think they have potential to be a bigger offense than they were last year.
Yeah.
So
yeah, all good points. Season. Let's go on and go down to the Bayou. Let's go to your home state, your favorite team, what you put on your chest, them LSU Tigers. What's your biggest question for them?
I'm going defense here. I'm going specifically position group. We're going with the safeties. It's our biggest weakness on the team, I would say. We hit the transfer portal, and we also got some young cats coming back that we're going to rely on for that position. I question a little bit of physicality from the back end. Tackling's been a little issue for LSU lately. Tackling, angles, coming up with the run fits. So question mark for LSU this year is going to be the safety play. How much improved is the tackling going to be, the physicality, the angles, all that good stuff in the secondary. I think cornerback's going to be pretty improved, but safety is a question mark for LSU.
Yeah, I was actually trying to pull up something while you were talking, but I would agree with that. Who's the DB that's really hyped
Pickett.
up? As
DJ Pickett, the 5-star.
Yeah. Did he play? Is this his first year?
Yeah, he's a corner though.
Okay, is he in line? I know he doesn't play safety, but is he in line to get starts this year?
Yeah, I think he's going to be CB2.
Okay.
I think he starts.
Don't question CBU, man.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I was when I was doing some research on LSU, I was actually because I just kind of glanced at a bunch of different things today, even though I only had 6 teams, but I thought as a whole the secondary was a question mark. So it lines up. I know you're saying safeties, but seems like that was something that was an issue 2 years ago with Jaden Daniels and all that. Secondary,
yeah, and
big issue.
A little bit of defensive tackle play as well. You could point to the middle of the field. Honestly, defensive tackles and safeties. we'll see how that all fares out.
Yeah, and they also got the two 4-star transfer cornerbacks, one from Virginia Tech and Jackson from Florida, and also pulled in a 4-star safety, Cooley from North Carolina State, and then like we mentioned, DJ Pickett is a freshman that's really highly rated. So they definitely went out and attacked the portal and tried to address that issue. To me, that says when you go out and you get a bunch of players in one like kind of area, that kind of tells me that the team knows that it needs some help and some needs some secondary help.
I really like the talent they brought in, to be honest.
Yeah, I haven't watched much of them, so I'm glad you said that because I don't know much about them.
Especially corner, but I'm still a little iffy on the safeties.
Yeah. Austin, any thoughts on that, or you had any other, like maybe something else on LSU?
No, I think that's spot on. I think the offense is going to be not many question marks.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think they'll be fine in the trenches. So
that's kind of been the problem, I think, since Brian Kelly's been there is the defensive side, is the defense in general as a whole kind of been an issue. I don't think I could ever. I love Brian Kelly. We did our coaches ranking, so I'm very high on Brian Kelly, but I still just can't forgive him for wasting Jaden Daniels and Neighbors. Like, especially after we seen what they did in the NFL this past year, I think we're also going to look back 5 years from now when they're still like really killing it and just go, what the hell, Brian Kelly? Especially if things go south and he ends up getting fired. It's really gonna come up and be like, dude, how did you not win with those guys? All right, I'm gonna go to since we're doing our teams, I'm gonna go ahead and go to Georgia. I know the easy thing is to do quarterback. That's the easy way to go. I actually went with the running game. I think look, UGA was next to last in the SEC in rushing, 124 yards per game. That's 102nd in the whole college football country. They had 1.8 yards per carry before contact. I mean, I don't care who you put back there at quarterback. You can put Patrick Mahomes. You can put Tom Brady. It does not matter. It's not going to end well if your running backs can't create and they can't get many yards and they're getting sacked. Quarterbacks are getting sacked. Constantly offensive line. So when I say the run game, it's the offensive line and the running back. This is a team that replaces 4 out of the 5 starters. I guess you could say, well, the 4 or 5 starters kind of stink last year, so it's got to be good. But then I could counter that and be like, well, if the backups didn't replace them, how bad are they? So I think it's the run game because I think Georgia has shown the ability to be a team that doesn't have to be quarterback dependent. It can win with Stetson Bennett. It can win with Jake Fromm. It can win with a multitude of different quarterbacks that are not your elite. I think for Georgia to be successful next year, the run game has to get going or it's just going to crumble.
So the University of Georgia, 102 in rushing, you said?
Yeah, 102nd in the country. University of Georgia with Kirby Smart.
UGA.
102nd. 102nd. Worst rushing offense under Kirby Smart, including his first year.
Yeah, they gotta get that fixed. I can't think of a Georgia team without a run game. Never. Like no. ETN did struggle though. Looking back on the season, he didn't really have that season that everyone thought he was going to have.
Because he could. I mean, he was getting hit right before he.
What was the yards before? What was the yards in contact? You said
1.
yards. 1.8 before contact. So that's bad.
Swallowed, huh?
So I don't know whether to get mad or be like, I seen this brought up, like the fact that Kirby went 10-2. I'm not trying to be a homer with the run game that bad and the wide receiver drops. I'm kind of like, I don't know whether to be pissed or be like, damn, that was a pretty damn good coaching job considering how bad the run game. But then in the same breath, I want to go, the run game should never be that bad at a place like UGA.
Yeah. Think of the history of Georgia and all their great running backs and running game and yeah. What you got, Austin?
I was just gonna say I think the picks that Carson Beck threw, the wide receiver drops and all that. I mean, they got so much attention last year. I don't think even I watched more Georgia games last year than normal. I didn't realize the run game was that bad.
Yeah, it doesn't get talked about much. It really doesn't. And when I knew it was bad, but then when I went and researched it, I didn't even realize it was that bad.
So 102nd and rush led. Damn it.
The bubble is back.
Yeah, it is. led the country in drops.
Yeah.
10-2.
It still went 10-2 and won the SEC, which we all SEC guys still think is one of the best conferences from top to bottom, and somehow still won it. I don't know whether to be proud or how
That's
to feel.
impressive, man.
It is pretty impressive, but if they want to continue to do that, they're gonna need to get the run game going. Austin, I'm actually, since you only have 4 teams, I'm gonna give you a little bit of a break, and we'll keep on with season next. Because you only have 4 teams, so I'm gonna try to. All right, season. You've already done Florida. Florida and LSU. Let's go to your old stomping grounds where you got your in the college business when you used to coach over there, Arkansas.
Yeah, man.
Razorback.
Arkansas. Okay, my biggest question mark for them is going to be competitive edge. I question how competitive they're going to be for Sam Pittman, especially with him being on the hot seat, a really tough schedule, not the greatest talent. The really only bright spot I have for Arkansas is Taylor Green coming back to quarterback. Other than that, I'm a little iffy. Pretty much all areas. They lost a good bit. I question if they're going to stay bought in the whole season for Arkansas and their competitive edge that they need, especially in a conference like the SEC. I think that's my biggest question mark I have for the Razorbacks.
And you know what's not? You said that, and I just looked it up. I don't think this is a good recipe. They've got 40 total newcomers coming between the portal and high school recruiting.
For running back, I know they got Jaquindon Jackson coming back. He's a big physical back. Wide receiver, I think they lost all their starters, huh?
I think, or at
least they lost their main one for sure.
Yeah, it's a hot seat year for Pittman, and so when you have 40 newcomers, and then like Season said, I don't know, man, it's not looking good for the Razorbacks. Austin, what you think?
Not a whole lot else you can say.
Yeah,
I think they're in for a long season. Luckily, their basketball team made a little bit of a Cinderella run this year to give them something to smile about. But
hey, Arkansas is a basketball school. They really are, if you think about it.
They are. Yeah. Yeah.
They want to be a football school so bad, but it just doesn't work out like that, baby.
I tell you, Arkansas
so close.
Yeah. They get mad on Twitter, but I seen somebody had mentioned a couple years back, like, if I was Arkansas, and I know money-wise, nobody would actually do this because you would lose a lot of money, but competitively, I think Arkansas would absolutely kill it if they was in the Big 12 and not the SEC. Not having to compete.
Absolutely.
They're essentially, I know they hate to hear this, but they're just cashing a check. That's what they're doing. Sorry to our Arkansas people if they watch, but all right, before we go back to Austin, I'm gonna do one more. I'm gonna go Oklahoma Sooners.
I'm curious to see this one. What y'all got for this one?
Well, I know everybody wants to I tried to lay off quarterbacks as much as I could. This one, I'm still going to lay off quarterback. Actually, I don't think any of maybe 2 teams. We'll get to them. But I knew the offensive line was bad. I did not know it was this bad. 50 sacks. Worst in college football. 50 sacks.
50 sacks.
Ranked 133rd, which there ain't but 133 teams, by the way. That's one of the reasons, and we'll get to Auburn at some point. That's one of the reasons I'm not gonna sell out. Yeah.
I think South Carolina had 10 sacks against Oklahoma. Now looking back
Yeah.
last year in that game.
Yeah. I just that's why I don't judge Jackson Arnold too much, because I don't know how you can judge a quarterback behind an offensive line that just did not give you a chance. I think everybody keeps talking about the new quarterback. They keep talking about the new OC. They keep talking about Brent calling the defense now. I have not heard very many people talk about the offensive line, and I'm like, none of that's going to matter. And we'll go back to the Georgia discussion. None of that's going to matter if the offensive line ain't worth the crap. I don't care who's calling plays. We can go get Bill Walsh from the dead and bring him back, and he's one of the greatest play callers of all time, and it ain't going to matter. You just can't. Season knows this. He coaches. You can't do much when your offensive line can't block. They did add a 4-star out of the portal. I don't know how y'all feel. I'm not a big fan of offensive line out of the portal. I think that's a really hard position to. I don't know. I'm just not a big fan of it. But they did get Derek Simmons from Western Carolina. They also got the top offensive tackle in the 2025 class. I don't know how much of an impact he can make as a freshman. That seems to be a position that's kind of hard to make an impact as a young guy. So we'll see. I don't know. We didn't do a camp intel on Oklahoma, but from everything I've read and heard and all that stuff, the offense is looking really, really good the quarterback's looking really good.
Man,
So,
week two, bro. We got Oklahoma and Michigan early in the year, dog. That's going to be a good little game because we don't know really what to expect with Bryce Underwood and experience, how Oklahoma's going to look.
We'll know by week 2 if that offensive line's good, huh?
Michigan's defense.
We're going to find out real quick about a lot of teams this year.
Yeah, for sure.
With the way the schedules are, yeah, we'll find out real quick. Ohio State, Texas. Yeah, Ohio State, Texas, I think it's week 1. Speaking of Texas, I've never gotten a good segue. This is perfect. Austin, give us your biggest questions on Texas. Yes.
You and I talked about this a little bit earlier today, and obviously, I mean, I think one of the questions is how, you and I have had was about Arch Manning, because on paper, on the field, everything we've seen, he looked to be the better quarterback for the last season. Why wasn't he playing? But I kind of pulled your route and was looking around, and we all know that's a question, but I think it's going to get answered pretty quick. But the trenches, man, I think for Texas is going to be it. And we talked about the O-line, and they have one person who I think had any starts last year returning, and they only have 2 scholarship interior defensive linemen returning on the other side of the ball. So,
I didn't realize that, and I'm pretty high on their defense.
Yeah, I mean, I think the defense is going to be fine.
Yeah,
particularly on the outside, but it's the trenches, man. Because like we've said all night, if the O-line can't, quarterback's playing on the run all the time or playing from his back, it don't matter how good he can throw a football.
Yeah, that's a really good point. It's very similar to that's a lot to replace on offensive line and Texas, especially with a new quarterback in Arch.
Well, especially, I was reading, I mean, Sark kind of built this team from the trenches, that old school, when he was preparing to go into the SEC, he did it that old SEC school, style. So it's weird to see, and I think they got some studs coming up behind
Maybe
him.
that's it. Maybe he just has some really good trust. I mean, they see it every day.
Hey, look, he's got some studs that, but I mean, Ohio State week 1, I mean, it's not like they got a couple of cupcakes to get ready. They come out swinging.
Yeah. Season, you got anything to add to that? Well, we have the everybody gets a trophy playoff now. I had to put that in. So
fair enough.
My
team didn't get no trophy last year. You get one, Season?
No, come on now.
What's your biggest thing for Texas? Same thing, Season, or any thoughts on that?
No, I agree. I agree with Austin. I agree. I do think Archer's, man, he's really talented. exclusive. Like he got more shake and bake in his game. He could take one to the house any given play. Kind of. He's really physical for a Manning. When you think of the Mannings, you don't think of physicality.
No.
He's the type of one that he's going to get down and dirty with you a little bit, and he'll lower his shoulder. I do question the chemistry in wide receivers a little bit, but I think they're going to be good. I think they're going to be all right at Texas.
Yeah, I even think they're going to be fine on the offensive line. I don't think it's going to be bad, but it is a good question because missing that. I mean, that's a lot to replace 4 out of 5. Same thing with Georgia.
I'm with you. That's my biggest question, but I think they're going to be fine. Yeah, I think they're going to be a good football team this year.
Yeah, just because it's a question mark doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a negative aspect.
Exactly.
Yep.
All right, I'm gonna go. So I've done UGA, Oklahoma, Vandy. I'm gonna go ahead. Let's see. Let's go Missouri.
Mizzou, dog. Hey, Mizzou. Eli Drinkwitz, dog. Hey.
Yeah.
What you got?
I knew that they lost the quarterback and they got the Penn State quarterback, which I like him a lot. But it's really how do you replace all of your stars on offense? Because not only did they lose Cook, who I wouldn't classify as a big superstar, but they lost all 3 wide receivers, both its top 2 running backs. That's a lot to replace in that offense. So you got to replace your starting quarterback, all 3 of your receivers, and one of those receivers included Luther Burden, who may be a first round, second round, third round pick. I don't even know. He ain't gonna be a third round. He'll be a first or second round pick. And then I think it was Theo Weiss or whatever. He was pretty good. He's gone. Now they did pick up. I do like the pickup they got. He's a Sun Belt Freshman of the Year, Ahmad Handy from ULM.
Brother, hey, that bag, bro.
It's from your neck of the woods.
Yeah, I went and watched his tape, bro. That bag, bro.
Pretty good, ain't he?
Pretty good bag.
So you got the addition of him and then Bo from Penn State, which I really like. They did add Kevin Coleman Jr. from Mississippi State also at wide receiver. I don't know much about him, but they definitely went out and got some guys to try to replace them. So that's my biggest question: is how do you replace those guys? They did have a down year last year. Cook, Burden had a down year. I think that's why he kind of dropped a little bit in the NFL mock drafts. But yeah,
I like their defensive addition. They went grab one of your Georgia Bulldogs.
I did.
Damon Wilson.
And he's good.
And we say it was a down year. I guess a lot of people point to the schedule. They still went 9-3.
I guess
some people say it was an easy schedule.
That's a good point because I guess you say down year and it's like got to remember we're thinking of them going and winning that game against Ohio. I think the year before when they went, I think 11-2. But also we need to remember it's Mizzou, so 9-3 is pretty damn good for Mizzou.
I agree. I don't know they go 9-3 this year.
Down on them, like
Let me ask you this: you think they could beat South Carolina at home?
I think so. I'm down on South Carolina, boys.
That's gonna be a tough one still.
Another perfect segue. Let's get to the Gamecocks season. Carolina Gamecocks.
Man, so South Carolina, all right, they got Dylan Stewart coming back. He was a monster freshman edge, but they lost Kennard and they lost all 3 linebackers, both defensive tackles. So they are replacing 6 out of the 7 for the front 7. That's my biggest question mark. It's how their front 7 is going to look, how their box is going to look. I know they got the stud Dylan Stewart. How they're going to complement him and stopping the run, getting pass pressure on quarterbacks. I think the secondary is going to be outstanding, though. However, I really like their secondary. I question they're replacing, all 3 starting linebackers, both defensive tackles and an edge. But I guess you do have a bright spot with Dylan Stewart, though, the monster on the other side of Kennard. Mm-hmm. They lose Kennard to the draft, but Dylan Stewart's going to be a 10-sack plus player probably.
Yeah, me and Season talked on the phone earlier too. as I do with both of y'all every day. But yeah, I'm kind of down on South Carolina. I think they like Season mentioned how much they lost on defense. I think a big reason they had the success that they had last year was that defense. I don't think people realize how nasty that defense was last year. It was pretty nasty. Losing all that, and then I think they're gonna have to rely on the offense more. I think Sellers, while I love him, I'm very super high on him. I think he still has a ways to go to develop as a passer. And I think if they want to replicate or have more success like they did last year, Sellers is going to have to make a pretty big jump. He was a freshman last year, right?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. Red shirt freshman. He's going to have to make a pretty big jump in a second year as a starting quarterback. Yeah, I'm down on him. If we were doing a buy or sell thing again, like an updated one, I'm selling all my South Carolina stock.
It's going to be interesting. We're going to see the development of that front seven.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I mean, one thing I like about watching South Carolina is, I mean, they're scrappy. But at some point, talent just outweighs that. You know, you can only scrap your way so far through the SEC. So,
yeah, absolutely. I don't think I'm gonna ever top those two segues I did again. Maybe if I get a third one tonight, I'm never gonna come back on here again. End my career. Let's go. Let's get back to Austin. You've only done what, Texas and Kentucky?
yeah.
Let's go on. I'm gonna make you wait on Bama. That's gonna be your last. Let's do Mississippi State. The Bulldogs 2-10 last year.
Mississippi State, man. So I'll kind of start with the positives. You know, they got their quarterback got hurt last season, and he got a medical exemption to play. He's coming back this year. Got the running back coming back. Should have I think a much more productive offensive year than they did last year. So again, they're kind of like Kentucky, where you could draw a question mark in a lot of areas. My biggest question mark for Mississippi State is their schedule. If the season started right now, Mississippi State would be an underdog in every single game that they played. Their out of conference games are Arizona State, coming to Starksville, and then they've got Southern Miss and Northern Illinois, where they would be underdogs even in those two. So, and then we ain't even got to talk about the SEC schedule because we already know what that looks like. So he might be doing good to get the 2 wins this year, and it might be improved, you know.
That's not good. That's not good. Yeah. And that defense was really bad last year, y'all. Really bad. They were 118th in scoring, 130th against the run, and 105th in passing defense, and 126th in total defense. Ugh. I'm not liking it. And then on top of that, the schedule, I don't know who are these people that schedule these games for programs like Mississippi State? Like, who does that? I'm all for the big matchups. Like, I think UGA and Bama and all that should have balls and schedule tough games. But if I'm the Mississippi State AD, I'm not scheduling Arizona State in my non-conference. It's not.
Why not? How many cowbells do you think they're gonna sell that week?
I mean, but Arizona State kind of just recently got good, though.
That's true, but I'm just like, for me, if I'm Mississippi
you would think State,
Mississippi State what?
I said, like, you would think Mississippi State would be able to compete with Arizona State, though. Like, if you're scheduling years down the road.
Yeah, I guess I'm thinking like, you got 8 SEC games. Most years, Mississippi State's going to be win 3 of those every year, maybe 4. So with my non-con, I want to try to get as many. You get 4 of those, so try to get 4 guaranteed wins. That way, you can get only 2. 2 more. All you got to do is win 2 SEC games and you're bowl eligible. But you're right, though. Arizona State, if you take away the Kenny Dillingham last year, most of the time that should be a win. So, yeah, you're right there. So, when this game was scheduled, it was way before Kenny Dillingham got to Arizona State.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
It's it's kind of a lose for Arizona State, if you ask me.
Yeah.
I mean, you're still coming into an SEC, playing an SEC school in an SEC atmosphere, you know, and you got nothing to prove because you should win big, you know, with the goals they have for the season.
Yeah.
But if you don't,
Bruh, Cade Anderson's still on the bump, dog.
I see that. Bottom of the 8th, too. That's crazy.
Nuts.
You don't see that very often with pitchers. All right, season. Let's go. Let's do a team that I don't think you're very high on that I'm kind of getting high on. Ole Miss Rebels.
I knew you was gonna go with them, boy. Them old pitch rebels. Nah, I'm joking.
Yeah.
you ain't on the lane train, man.
I
Actually,
don't think he is this year.
No, well, I'm not high on the team actually this year, but I do appreciate Lane Kiffin, the coach. I don't like his fake injury shit that he was doing last year, but really good coach, really good offensive mind coach. Love his tempo, love his offenses. You know, I was thinking about Ole Miss and where am I go with this one. I was leaning quarterback this whole time, but I changed it today. I changed it. I'm not gonna go Austin Simmons, which I probably should, but from the reports I've been reading, he's been lighting up their own defense in spring. I don't know how much if you want to buy in on that. You know, our boy Chris right here told me that he lit up Georgia on the one drive he came into. He is a lefty quarterback, first time starting. So Kiffin's going from Matt Corral to Jackson Dart to Austin Simmons, a lefty, inexperienced, first time starting. So that's where I was going to lean, but I'm actually going to go defense here. My biggest question mark for Ole Miss is going to be the secondary. I think it's all new faces in the secondary, and maybe except a starting corner coming back. I really question that group. I don't know how they're going to look. I'm a little skeptical about their secondary. Pete Golden, defensive coordinator, he had a pretty solid year actually last year.
He did.
He did have a really good year last year, but he's going to have a lot more challenging year, I think, this year. And we'll see how they all put everything together. But that's my biggest question mark is definitely the secondary. All new faces, a lot of transfers. They hit the transfer portal hard, Ole Miss. I think they brought in like at least 20-plus guys through the portal. They're going to – Kiffin's experimenting right now. So that's my biggest question mark.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think to me the defensive line is a really big one too, along with the second, probably just the whole defense because they lost so much.
That's not good. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the defense last year was really good. It was like second in scoring defense, rushing defense, and third in sacks. I know they kicked our butts, but I think a middle school could have kicked Georgia's offense. But
they lost a lot though, man.
Huh?
They lost Jackson Dart. They lost both receivers, both backs.
Yeah, Walter Nolan too. Princely.
Walter Nolan.
Yeah.
Trey Amos.
Yeah.
As a Bama fan, I just don't have faith in Pete Golden.
You see,
Yes.
that was a question I had. That was a question I had for y'all. What do y'all think about Pete Golden?
I ain't really followed him much other than his stint at Bama, and we was ready to get his ass out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the most frustrating defenses I've ever watched as an Alabama fan came under Pete Golden. So I don't know. He had a real good year last year, but you know, a lot of times, you know, that first year you kind of walk, you know, it's not necessarily your team. So I'll be curious to see, you know, him having to kind of build it now and see where it goes.
Yeah, I like him, but yeah, I'm not like super high on him. I don't think he's the greatest DC in the country, but I did think he did a phenomenal job last year. But I think this year is the year that I'm gonna be able to judge him because let's see what you do when you ain't got, you know, all them studs. Let's see how you adjust and adapt and do things different now that you don't have the D line you're gonna have. All right, let's go to. I'm going to go ahead and do Tennessee. I think this one's pretty easy and short, to be honest with you. It's what we've talked about before with them on other shows. I tried to look for something different because I don't want to repeat myself, but the question is what the question is. It's the wide receivers. Only one scholarship receiver with more than 1 year of college experience back. They picked up Chris Braswell, which happens to be the receiver with the experience. um, Mike Matthews, sophomore, didn't play that much last year, but he's back. He was very highly ranked in the previous year's class, I think 24 class. And then, of course, we talked about him, Travis Smith Jr. I think I don't have much questions on their defense. I know they lost probably a good bit, but I think their DC's a pretty good DC, and I think he'll figure it out. But I think for Tennessee to get, I'm kind of down with Tennessee. A lot of y'all after I've looked them up a lot more. They didn't do anything really in the portal on wide receivers.
I'm more down on Ole Miss than I am Tennessee.
Yeah.
I like Nico. I like Nico, the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are skeptical a little bit on him. I think he's a baller, though.
I'm skeptical of him.
That's fair. That's fair, though.
I go back to that Bama game last year, and I know they won that football game, but that was
first half.
Dude, I mean, that was some of the sloppiest football I've ever seen in my life. And I think I may use that particular half to judge them a little bit because I don't find myself watching a whole lot of Tennessee games. But
he don't have much help, though. I would counter that with that. He doesn't have much help. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, we all agree he's one of the greatest. But I think one of the reasons he struggled when they got to the big game was they didn't have very much good receiver help other than Travis Kelce, and he didn't even play that well either. I don't think he has much help. I hate to judge him this quick. I am skeptical. I think the deep ball is probably one of his bigger issues. It seems he's very inconsistent with the deep ball, if I'm remembering right. I know there was y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. My memory may be, fuzzy, but watching that Bama game back then, I thought there was like a couple of times he missed some wide open deeps, and then there was times he did hit them. He's just really inconsistent. I was super high on him coming out of high school, but I agree. Little skeptical, but also like, well. But I don't see Tennessee adding anything really. It looks like they've added that one. Now we do have the spring portal window coming up. I don't know how much of that's going to be very big. Usually the spring window is not massive. But I don't know. Maybe something will happen. I'm kind of shocked that they didn't go all out on dudes like Zachariah Branch. I know they were in it for him, but that's probably a guy I would have overpaid for if I was Tennessee.
Yeah.
All right, Austin, we'll go to your last one, and then when me and Season finish up, you can just chime in on ours. Alabama, Crimson Tide.
So the biggest question I got for Bama is, what day is the national championship? Yeah.
I was sitting there thinking about it.
Took you a second. Nah, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Man, and I almost hate that we did our own fan base, our own teams, because I got so many questions. But, after reading up on everything, I mean, even some of the coaches have come out and talked about this. It seems like the biggest question at Bama right now is the depth in a lot of areas. Just went blank. The defensive coordinator, Womack, he came out and said, he said he's got a solid start in defensive line, but he's just got nobody, behind him. I think about the wide receiver room, and we obviously got Ryan Williams. We got Jeremy Bernard coming back, who had like 50 catches last year, but behind that, you got nobody. So I think that's just going to be, it's going to be the issue coming down the stretch when our schedule don't really get kicked off until November. I guess I shouldn't say that now because it's a little bit different, but that's when our schedule gets the toughest. It's through November. How healthy are we going to be, and how are the guys that are having to play backup going to step up?
My biggest question mark is the quarterback. I need to see more of it too to really give it fair evaluation.
The reports with Ty Simpson, he's slinging that thing right now. Like,
I've been hearing, but I also been hearing reports of the other cats as well. So
I agree. But yeah,
I
I mean,
did. Greg McElroy, I don't know if y'all seen this. Greg McElroy actually said today on Andy and Staples' show, everything he's hearing is Ty Simpson's job.
Ty Simpson. Okay.
Yeah, just because I mean he's playing really well, but apparently he really has just control and respect of from the offense, and seems to just be the leader. And
yeah, I
now
think
he's
he's going to pull away because Season's correct. I heard that same thing, Austin Mack. I heard his name like 2 weeks ago when me and you talked about it, Season. So I don't think this is like has been a thing. I think it's really been neck and neck, and then I think Ty Simpson's kind of has up till today like has really pulled away.
Yeah,
that's probably going to go into fall camp.
Yeah, I would imagine. Yeah,
I mean, I could even see this being a into the season kind of thing.
Yeah,
we could see both of them at some point this year. Matter of fact, we probably got more depth at quarterback than we do anywhere else.
Season. I think this is your last one. You could correct me if I'm wrong, but Texas A&M Aggies. Season loves the Aggies, just so everybody knows. Being an LSU fan.
Texas A&M Aggies, man.
The Colt.
The Colt, you're right, bro. I think they banned. I want to say I read a report that they banned Midnight Yell or some shit like that. I don't know how accurate that is. Or
did you read it on April 1st? There's no way that Colt was banned in that.
Speaking of April 1st, bro, I was mixing and mingling a little bit, bro.
Oh, was you?
A little bit, bro.
Heck yeah.
I was fucking around on April Fools,
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go with Marcel Reed and the passing game as my biggest question mark for A&M. He proved he could do a lot with his legs. He made some plays in that Auburn game whenever they went into like 5 or whatever overtimes. But overall, I need to see more from his passing game. I'm not as high as people are with his wide receiver room, but that's just how I think he needs to make that next step for A&M to really get a good jump. Cade Anderson's about to have a complete game, dog.
Yeah, I'm watching it. I'll let you watch it while I talk because you're down to one more strike. Last out. Foul. Anyway, yeah. I think that's really the biggest question. You're absolutely right. It's the passing game. It's because the run game was really good. I think the defense is always going to be fine with Elko in it. It's kind of similar to when you think about Kirby Smart or other defense-minded head coaches. You just don't worry about the defense. I think the passing game is the biggest thing to unlock them from the 8-4 thing that they always
bring them up, dog. Fuck.
Have Did y'all win?
No, umpire just missed a fucking straight, dog.
There we go. All right. He may be behind me, so he may not see it.
Oh, I see it. Hey, and it finishes with Anderson. With Anderson, dog. Come on, bro.
Austin's totally lost. LSU just beat Oklahoma. Austin.
Yeah, no, I got it.
Game one.
I ain't got a TV right here where I was at, so.
Yeah, we're giving y'all a little college baseball, which is, other than college football, one of the best sports in my opinion. Anyway, yeah, so that's the biggest thing for me. Austin, anything added to that? All right, I'm gonna go. All right, last. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
All right, last one. I can't believe we made this. We're at 59 minutes. I thought this was going to go an hour and 30. We made great timing. I'm going to go Auburn, and I'm going to keep it. There's a saying, keep it simple, stupid. I'm going to keep it simple. It's Jackson Arnold. I think that's the only thing missing with Auburn is quarterback play. They have, I think they have good receivers in Cam Coleman and Singleton from Georgia Tech. I think the run game's been pretty well. I think the defense has played really good. I think it's really just bad quarterback play has really kind of hamstrung Hugh Freeze. I think this is the massive year for Hugh Freeze. I think he's taking a little bit of a risk with Jackson Arnold. But like I said in the Oklahoma part of it, I'm not going to judge him off of what happened at Oklahoma because I don't think anybody was safe with that offensive line. So I think he's the biggest question mark. Auburn's, if they get this right, I think the reward could be really major because Jackson Arnold was people don't remember this. He was very highly recruited. He was a very highly recruited kid.
It's going to make Auburn look like a genius if he comes and just balls out this year.
I'm not high on Auburn, bro. I don't know about how y'all feel about Auburn this year. I'm not too high on them cats.
Chris is.
I-
He's trying to tiptoe around it right now.
I'm high on them. High on what
He's
degree? Though?
buying.
I don't think they're going to the playoffs. I'm high on them that they're going to go 9-3.
That's high.
That's high.
That's high, dog.
I'm not down on Jackson.
Yeah.
I like Jackson.
9-3 might go playoffs.
9-3 for Auburn might make it, dog.
Yeah, that's possible depending on who you beat and all that. I don't know. I think Jackson Arnold. I remember him in high school. I remember watching his tape. I don't know. I'm just not going to judge him much on Oklahoma. I know that may be stupid of me. It may, we'll find out week 1. I think Baylor is going to be a good test. I'll be curious to see how that game.
I'm going Baylor, dog.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I think the spread for that game is like only 3.5 or 4 or something like that.
We got some bangers, dog. We got some bangers early on in the year.
Yeah. All right, man. That was a great show. It was fun to talk college football. No realignment, no college football business. We didn't bring up the House settlement. Thank God. We didn't touch on the college football expansion bullshit again. We just talked straight ball, guys. So next week, y'all come join us. I'm trying to line up some scheduled interview I hadn't talked to Season about yet, but I have not had no luck. I wanted to do an episode where we did talk the NFL draft, but I'm not hating because those guys are extremely busy, but none of the mock guys are answering me. So maybe we can line up an interview with something next week, me or Season with somebody. Other than that, we will definitely be back next Thursday where we're going to go to what most consider the best conference in college football now, the Big Ten. 18 teams between the 3 of us. Austin, when do you go out of town again? It may be. Is it next week? Don't do that to me.
It is next week, but we're not leaving till Friday now. I'll be here Thursday.
Okay, thank God. 18 between 2 of us would be a 2-hour show. All right, so all 3 of us will be back next week. We'll talk Big Ten football where the defending national championships reside. Appreciate everybody watching. Please go hit the like and subscribe button on YouTube, and we'll catch you at CFB_SZN. We'll catch y'all next Thursday.